stuck with it.
Yeah, that would make sense. A lot of people are, fans of certain decks, and they'll take tried and trusted methods to tournaments, especially of this size. We keep going back to that fact, and indeed it is. It's going to be Blacephalon GX, one in those prize cards already. Nothing too awkward for him, just one fire energy. If he's trying a burst, he's got to be pretty lucky to get that one B-string, but nothing too awkward for him. And it's going to be interesting to see Blacephalon. He might be one of the only players left in the field playing Blacephalon right now. I know there aren't many.
We did have a scan through, and we barely saw any as we were looking through.
And here you can see one Froakie, one Frogadier, one Tapu Koko, double color synergy. Not the best prize cards. Double colorless are pretty much gold dust when you're using Flying Flip all the time, but we might even see Greninja as an attacking presence in this matchup.
Yeah, and actually just having another look through, the only other guaranteed Blacephalon that I saw from looking through the list of decks here is actually Manuel Yordak, who's obviously one of the higher ranking players in Europe right now in that sort of top 22 slot for Worlds, and he's playing Blacephalon too.
We've got Jitmin starting out the game here. He's got a Ditto Prism Star kicking things off, and he's also got himself a Nest Ball. So he's going to kick off here. Always great when you're an evolution-based deck to get that incentive in the game. It looks like he's playing just a bunch of double colors energies. He's got counter energies in here as well, so it might just be a pure attacking Tapu Koko base build rather than playing water energies. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. He won't really have type advantage, even though he is playing this water GX-based Pokemon. So at the moment, it looks like he's just going through a few searches. So fantastic to be able to get that Nest Ball for Tapu Koko, your ideal attacker, and you can see indeed he is playing Larvitar as one of his fighting tech Pokemon to help out against the likes of Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX. Jitmin's going to go ahead and use a Pokemon Communication here for a turn 1 Cynthia, choosing that over the Lily here. Maybe he doesn't have many other playables in hand. He'd rather refresh for a full 6 rather than just Lily for a couple. And it looks like his hand is clogged full of Guzmas, so he's going to reset that and get a fresh 6 here. Essentially, all he's looking for at this point are the likes of Brooklet Hill and Froakies and whatnot, because everything else has been really solid so far. Double colors energy to your Tapu Koko is what you're after. And Adrian's going to have to play a pretty interesting game, to be honest, when you're up against these Flying Flip-based matchups. You can't just have your plan A. You can't just be sat there going for as many Poi Bowl as possible, getting down your sort of Blacephalons freely. We're just going to have to see him sort of react to Jitmin's strategy here. And you can actually see he's playing the Detective Pikachu Greninja, I believe, in his hand. It does 250 damage snipes for 2 water energy. And it also has a very awkward ability as well. It forces the opponent to flip a coin. And if actually you get to flip a coin, and if heads, you are preventing that damage being done to yourself. So Jitmin has a very awkward water attacker, which might also spell trouble for Adrian. Yes. As we do pass over to his turn here.
Yeah, something that's obviously got to be very careful of. One of these sort of the early sort of defensive attacks that sometimes can sort of catch off guard. We even saw yesterday. It didn't necessarily. I don't think it made as much of an impact as it could have done. But of course, that Rockruff has the corner attack that can just prevent a Jirachi from retreating, for example, which is pretty big.
Wow, Jitmin's deck list is actually insane. We're getting the full look at it now, and he's playing 3 copies of the Detective Pikachu Greninja, so not the GX at all. It's actually just a full attacking presence with Detective Pikachu Greninja.
It's so funny, going into the weekend, I think it was Kyle that actually mentioned, the Detective Pikachu set is legal, but we probably won't see it have too much of an impact this weekend. Well, Kyle, there you go.
Jitmin had other ideas. That is actually crazy to see there. And it's going to be such great fun to see this. And now that we see that there's 3 copies of this Greninja in his deck, I mean, that's really going to be awkward for Adrian with that type coverage. He's had a decent turn, though. He's got that Poipole down. He's got Beast Energy onto his active Blacephalon. And he's also going to fire off a Let Loose here. So far, only 1 Ditto in play for Jitmin. And you would expect his deck list to be a little bit clunkier than most. He doesn't have the same draw engines to fall back on. He has a Rangaroo and just 1 Jirachi. So not really the draw engines we've seen from a lot of these other decks. So this Let Loose, Adrian at least is hoping that it's going to be very awkward for him as he's able to find himself a Lily, which is great.
Yes, absolutely does. So Lily there getting a really strong start. Bunch of fire energy in Adrian's hand, ready to go, finds himself another Poipole, and just goes for the Burst GX. Let's see what he gets.
It's going to have to be lucky. It's just that mysterious treasure. He only had 1 fire energy in those prize cards, remember, but still takes the first prize of the game here, which is always going to be important. And looks like Jitmin at least has a couple basics off of this Let Loose, so it looks like he's still in reasonable stead, but he's going to have to start evolving up into these Frogadiers. Definitely, he's going to go ahead and find himself a Jirachi by the looks of things. One other great feature of his Tapu Koko is, of course, that it has free retreat. and you can go straight into Stellar Wish if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Stellar Wish being really the ability of the weekend almost, as very similar to how it's been in the entire time it's been legal. Just being able to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and get any trainer you want is almost unparalleled consistency, and it's no surprise that it's seen its presence in so many decks, and not just in Zapdos or in Pikachu Zekrom, but even here in this crazy concoction that Jitmin has come up with.
Jitmin power padding back in that one supporter card to give him better odds off this one Stellar Wish here, because otherwise he's on fumes. He just has a couple Pokemon in hand, so this is a big Stellar Wish here. If it all works out for him, he's going to get into a fresh one, but no, just an Ultra Ball by the looks of things. Ooh. This can get him a Rangaroo. Maybe that's got to be what he's taking here.
Yeah, I mean, we do know that the Oranguru is not in his prizes. We did get a look at that earlier, but that might be the only draw option that he has available.
Oh, wow, it's an Ultra Prism Oranguru. It's not even the Instruct one.
Oh.
He's playing it for milling archetypes.
Yeah, so okay, resource management.
That's a big miss from this Jirachi. Jitmin left with nothing.
Oh, dear, yeah, and just the pass there. Flips the coin. Jirachi does wake up. Now back to Adrian. He can mount a fairly reasonable offensive now. You know, he can attach another Fire Energy. He has the Ultra Space. He can grab himself a Ganadel. He can KO this Jirachi easy peasy. He just needs to do Mind Blown, get rid of one Fire Energy, and of course the weakness will take care of the rest.
Yeah, it's going to be as easy as that, and Adrian going for his plan A. He's filled up his board. Life could have been pretty awkward for him if Jitmin had found himself as a porter with 4 bench Pokemon, Flying Flips starting to rack up, but Jitmin forced to go into that Stellar Wish, drawing a blank, and now Adrian seems to be in good control of this game. He might even be able to lower his hand size for Erika's here. Looks like Cynthia's the best route, because he can't thin that many Fire Energies that early.
No, definitely not.
The only thing he's kind of missing out on right now is discarding Fire Energies, because he's not getting as much charge-up value as he would like. But for now, at least, with the Beast Energy on board, it's only 2 discards on Tapu Kokos, and obviously this Jirachi's going to be going down with not much trouble. So, yeah, he's firing on all cylinders right now, Adrian.
Yeah, he really is. And so there he goes with the Cynthia, draws a couple more Fire Energy, hasn't let loose Marshadow. I mean, well, he doesn't
I'm pretty sure you just got to sit on this hand and take the knockout here. I can't see using a Let Loose to good effect, especially with Jitmin Stellar Wishing and essentially just passing afterwards. So
exactly.
Adrian going to take the one prize here, picks up another Fire Energy to his collection that's already starting to gather in his hand.
Bay wish that was the end of the prize he picked up off the Burst GX.
Exactly. Jitmin just still has more Kokos. I think he drew into another energy card, so he can Flying Flip for a couple turns, but that's all he's doing right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jitmin, this is the problem that some of these road decks have. You know, if you're playing lots of different lines and you're playing all these crazy different consistency options, if you don't see them, then you can just end up a little bit stuck. And that's what's happened to Jit right now. He's going to have to hope that these early Flying Flips can see him through until he finds something to actually get his setup going. Yeah,
he had to communication for Lele turn 1, so that Ultra Ball not giving him any outs to draw any more cards here. Let Loose has been so crushing for him, as Adrian can use that Ultra Space once again to find himself another Naganadel. Don't think there's any fires in the discard pile just yet, so it might be a couple awkward discards, but Adrian does have more Cynthias to play this turn for this next Mind Blown, but it looks like he's just on the charge, really, just trying to take knockout after knockout. Already 2 down, and he's taking the 3rd prize ahead. And if he can get more Fire Energy into the discard pile off the Cynthia, it's just going to be really difficult for Jitmin to make a comeback, really, especially when he's not evolving into any Frogadiers just yet at all.
Yeah, exactly. It is so bizarre that that's starting to be the case. And yeah, this Persian from Team Up in Jitmin's list as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is got to be...
I mean, he's really not wanting to lose to those sort of slower archetypes that are trying to run resources out of your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
He's having the Oranguru and the Persian in his deck list for those. But when you're having these sorts of crazy concoctions all in one deck, I mean, you can see why he's drawing a little bit subpar right now.
Yeah, very much so.
We're seeing the search for a Marshadow. I think it's more so that he can put a Fire Energy in the discard pile. I can't see him using a Let Loose with the kind of turns that Jitmin's been having. It's more so just to get that Fire Energy in the bin so that it can be charged straight back up and make this a bit of a less painful Mind Blown here.
Yeah.
Beast Energy coming in clutch, though. Finding it so early for Adrian is going to really help him get through multiple Tapu Koko. with less of a cost here. Just 2 having to hit the lost zone for the knockout thanks to Beast Energy.
Yeah, it's a really strong tap, that Beast Energy there, especially when you're going up against stuff that is just that little bit too much. That isn't like a multiple of 50s, so make sure that you have to do out to lost zones and energy.
He's found himself a Lily. He's back in this game. Jitmin has counter energy that he can attach to his Tapu Koko. A Lily for 4 cards. He's got himself Guzma, a skateboard, choice band, and another Lily. This isn't quite home and dry, but he at the very least can use this Ultra Ball now. Maybe start trying to threaten some Frogadiers, because he's going to definitely need the help of the Detective Pikachu's Greninja if he can ever get it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Frogadier evolves from the throw key. Of course, the ability does 20 damage to, or puts 2 damage counters on any one of your opponent's Pokemon, and he does up to put it onto the Blacephalon on the bench.
Yeah, we always know that Jitmin's game plan is a long one. He's trying to rack up damage counters all across the board and use the things like Shrine of Punishment and that Greninja to really take a late game sweep here.
Yep.
It's not out of reach for him by any means, but he's going to be really at the mercy of his next Lily on the next turn. If he can find something like a counter energy and a Greninja, he's straight back in the game. But as of right now, Adrian's just continuing to attach more energy cards and continuing to mind blow through Jitmin's low hit point non-GXs.
Yeah, it's so for full disclosure, Jitmin's energy count is just 4 double colorless energy and 4 counter energy. That is it. That's all he has to work with on these very much like the Passimian Tapu Koko archetype. It's a very sort of special energy reliant deck. He just wants 1 energy, 1 attachment, one attack.
Yeah, very simple stuff really. Rather than clogging your deck full of water energies and aqua patches, he's just going for the 4 copies of counter energy instead.
Yeah.
So it's much more of a shell of a defensive Tapu Koko deck, as you said, but replacing those Passimian for 1 Larvitar and then having the Greninja line in there as well, which is very, very interesting, giving you extra damage counter placements with those Gale Shurikens from the Frogadiers, but also more damage from that Greninja, and it's an awkward target to attack into as well, of course.
Yeah, interesting from Adrian's side, actually. He's really struggling to find extra energy. He just did another Mind Blown, lost zoned all the energy off his active. There goes the Greninja onto the Frogadier for Jitmin, and I guess it goes a Choice Band as well. Lily for 6. Can he find the counter energy?
Here's Greninja with a Choice Band on as well. This would be an incredible swing if Jitmin can find that counter energy. It's a big 6 cards from Lily. There is one. Wow.
That's exactly what he needed, and now he actually has a chance to make a comeback here.
This is huge for Jitmin. Counter energy, such a great pickup for him. He can even communication in a Larvitar and maybe start threatening his next Frogadier as well, because he can of course evolve that Ditto that's been in the active for a long time.
Yeah, it has, and I mean this is the crazy thing, right? Because you think to yourself, Adrian only has 2 prizes left to take, so surely he's just needs to take 2 more knockouts and he wins. But I'm fairly sure if Jit gets enough sort of damage under the board, he might be able to just take the win quickly before that becomes a viable option for Adrian.
How patient can Jitmin be at this point, though? That's the thing. Are you going to enable Beastrings and hope that there's not a combination of Beastring and Guzma? Or are you just going to hope that, it looks like he's pointing on the active, so he's going to be knocking that out thanks to Choice Band plus Weakness. And he's going to get an additional 50 damage onto the bench. He's just hoping that Evasion Jutsu does the work.
Yeah, gotta rely on those slips, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's really not that far away. He's putting damage on another Blacephalon here. And he's just hoping that that ability from Greninja is enough to get him over the line. Beast Energy does need to hit that lost zone, of course. But 2 prizes on a comeback for Jitmin after some very slow turns. And it's not out of his grasp thanks to this Greninja's ability.
Essentially what Jitmin's banking on now is for Adrian to not have Guzma 2 turns in a row.
Yes.
Yeah, or rather, and if he doesn't, hoping that he flips tails.
Well, Adrian won't struggle with energies anymore. He does have 2 Beastrings in his hand, so now the energies are going to start flowing. Now Jitmin has taken some prize cards. I don't think there's any Guzma in there, though. He might be reliant on Let Loose.
Yeah, because he's probably going to drop that Marshadow and hope to find a Guzma off that. And of course, he's fitting the deck even more by playing these Beastrings, so that will make the Let Loose more likely to hit the Guzma off the draw. But yeah, there we go. 2 energy going on to the Blacephalon, and another Beastring, so 2 more energy going on. This is the problem, if you can't play in a way where you play around the Beastring turn, and of course not all decks can play around the Beastring turn, you open yourself up to this.
I mean, wow, third Beastring. Fires are flowing now for Adrian. They've been held in his hand for a long time, sort of clunking up his hand until this exact moment where he can get 6 energies into play all at once before his attachment, which is absolutely incredible. If he can find his way to Guzma, he can just deal with his Tapu Lele. I don't see it in hand, though.
No.
Can he use his own Tapu Lele to find it? Or is he just going to have to let loose here?
I think he's going to have to let loose. You're going to Ultra Ball to... Oh, he's got the Ultra Ball in hand, but has he already been through his Tapu Lele?
I'm not so sure. We're going to see here from this Ultra Ball, obviously, if there's a Tapu Lele for Guzma, it's happy days for Adrian, and it's a very easy first win here.
He's actually...
Oh, he's just playing the double Marshadow.
He's not playing Tapu Lele GX in his list, yeah.
Just playing double Marshadow, so Ultra Balling to just thin some dead cards and let loose, hoping to find that Guzma for Tapu Lele GX here. Game still potentially in his hands.
Yeah, it is tricky because, you know, it's a lot that Jit has to go through. Adrian has to not find a Guzma for 2 or 3 turns, and he has to like flip enough tails when he does the attack to actually survive. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No, just looks like we in 2 Ericas.
Well, can reload his hand at the very least.
Yeah.
Continue to Ultra Ball some more stuff away. Putting 5s in the discard's never a bad thing for your Naganadel GXs.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, your regular Naganadels. He searched out a Naganadel GX.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a tech card for some more stalling archetypes. Both these players respecting the potential for some stalling builds out there.
Very much so. So here goes the Ericas Hospitality, of course. This is one of the new supporters that came out recently. Very powerful supporter. Lets you draw 1 card for each Pokemon that your opponent has out in the field, as long as you have 5 or less cards in hand, including Ericas. Very reminiscent of Steven's Advice, an old supporter from the Ruby Sapphire era.
We're going to see double charging up from Adrian. I have to imagine that he's going to just attack with the active here. It's way too much of a risk to flip that coin, burn a bunch of energies, and then, sure, if you flip tails, then you just end up losing the game, essentially. Because your Bucephalon gets knocked out, all your damage essentially gets wiped off the field. You get taken off B-string turns. He's just hoping that Jitmin can't find access to his own Guzma, or maybe some more Frogadier damage could get him over the line as well.
And Jit flips the heads.
It's a big evasion jutsu coming in here. Bucephalon GX currently with 110 damage on it. A Frogadier pushes it up to 130, and then it's going to get knocked out by the Greninja here. Math working out.
You see Jit just like wave goodbye.
That damage away. And Adrian can wave goodbye to his Bucephalon GX now as well.
Yes, he can.
As long as Jitmin can find himself a Frogadier here, it's going to mean, yeah, he can take 2 prizes easily on the Bucephalon GX this turn, and even start setting up some other Pokemon. Maybe knock out one of those Marshadows.
Yeah, it's such a
one prize away.
Such a powerful, attack. Actually, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's so much. You have 52 bench Pokemon, but the versatility that you have to hit things on the bench and not even need to, use Guzma to take KOs on things just makes it inherently so strong.
Jit immediately saying, yep, I want this 2 damage on that Bucephalon GX. I have to deal with this threat right now. I can't dodge Guzma much longer. So let's just get a counter energy on the benched Frogadier as well. And we're going to see this big knockout here from Greninja on that Bucephalon GX. And also he may start feathering up some Marshadows, put them in range. But I can also see him just taking out the Marshadow with 40 damage already on it. But yep, he is going to go for both Marshadows here, just saying, I win next turn with one of my Greninjas.
You just have to be a little bit careful because, of course, he's now even on prizes with Adrian. So, if that counter energy is no longer in effect. So, yeah.
That's true. Definitely something to bear in mind. It might stop the flow of these shurikens, but at the same time, maybe some Tapu Koko flying flips can get him over the line. He's obviously 10 damage short currently on 1 Marshadow, so not quite perfect for Jitmin now that he has those counter energies shut off. But he's close here, and the big threats from Adrian are pretty much gone. It's going to be down to him to try and find a Bucephalon getting powered up over a number of turns here.
Yeah, and obviously to be in for those B strings, and I'm not quite sure how many B string he plays. He does play the full 4, but the last one he won't be able to use because, of course, the prizes don't work out for him that way anymore.
Ooh, 2 draws for Adrian, no fire energy. Of course, a lot have gone at this point, but no energy switch either, anything of the sort. So he can't power up a Bucephalon over a couple of turns. So instead, he's just going to attempt to attack here, and the Jutsu flipping tails. So 80 damage on this Greninja.
Yeah, 60.
Should be the 80 base.
Yes, there we go. So back to Jitmin now, and it looks like he has another Froakie he can bench. So actually, this might be one of the ways he can, win, like you mentioned, with this Tapu Koko. If he's able to bench the Froakie, find another Frogadier, do 20 onto the Marshadow with 40 damage on, then do a flying flip for the win.
That's definitely the case. He's also eyeing up a Rescue Stretcher here. He could go for some flying flips as well we're going to see a Froakie on the bench at this point.
Well, it works either way.
Rescue Stretcher.
It works either way around, right? If he can just do the flying flip now and then just next turn, he just find a Frogadier and that wins him the game. It doesn't really, the order doesn't really matter so much.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see Jit retreating out his Greninja. It's done so much work, and we're going to see the flying flip, the wave of the hand. I was telling you, you're getting damage everywhere. Yep. I'm taking one more knockout on a Marshadow, and I'm 10 damage off knocking out your next one. This is really putting Adrian on the clock. What a comeback from Jitmin with this deck. Yeah,
it is an absolutely insane comeback. So now it's either Adrian KOs this Tapu Koko and otherwise he loses, or if he does KO Tapu Koko, Jitmin just needs to find a Frogadier. So Jitmin's in a very good position.
I mean, yeah, this is really awkward. It may even come down to Adrian trying to just burn this Tapu Koko if he can't even knock it out and confuse it so that it can't just instantly get the win.
Yeah.
But we're going to see a Guzma on this Tapu Lele. Maybe it's going to be a burn into an attack for next turn. I think that's really all he can hope for at this point.
It does seem that
Force
way.
Jitmin to have one more energy card to retreat or an switching card.
Wait, you get the Frogadier as well. That still works. So you just
Frogadier Frogadier also ends the game, of course.
Yeah. So he does do...
He's going to have a final scout. He knows it's in there from Ultra Space, and now he knows the game is over.
Ultra Ball, Frogadier, and winning the game on an ability, just taking the last prize, and Jitmin takes game 1.
Gale Shuriken getting Jitmin over the line there in a really, really interesting series of that first game. Started off with Jitmin with a horrible, horrible let loose, eventually able to find himself a Lily, which got him into another Lily, which finally got him into that Greninja, and one Greninja taking, 5 prizes or 4 prizes on its own and setting up another Marshadow as well, just for a flying flip, and one more Gale Shuriken to get him those 6 was incredible scenes.
And I think that's a really great demonstration of how Jitmin has constructed this deck and how powerful it is. We, like you just said, we saw how terrible his start was, but he was able to recover from that so well, and all it took was 1 heads on the evasion jutsu, and he was able to make that recovery, take the knockouts, and just take control of the game.
Definitely a powerful ability. We've seen it on previous cards, and there's even a newer card coming out soon, the Whimsicott GX, which is one to look out for from Unbroken Bonds. Of course, pre-releases are happening this weekend in the venue and elsewhere as well, so maybe it's a bit of insight into the future where we're going to see more of these sorts of evasion jutsu type abilities.
Yeah, it's something I remember. There was a Noivern that used to have it as well. That saw like a little bit of play, but it was never quite on the same level, mainly because I think the main drawbacks that these sorts of cards had before was that the attacks were never sort of good enough to sort of merit playing them on their own, but definitely seemingly not the case with this Greninja. Just do 52 Pokemon. Turns out that's pretty good.
Yeah, really, really nice. And Adrian has to be kicking himself. It felt like he was in complete control, going 3 or 4 prizes up, and then one Greninja completely changing the game. I think he does have to be a little bit more cautious with the uses of those 70 hit point Marshadows. It really did open the door for Jitmin in the end, but you have to give him a bit of credit because he was drawing into some very awkward no energy hands, and when you're Blacephalon, you're playing 16, don't have energy hands that often.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the highest energy count decks really in the current standard format.
And just unfortunate for him. So it'll be interesting to see if he tries to change up his game plan at all, if he wants to try and limit his bench, limit the power of flying flips. That's always something that's tempting, but at the same time, so that you can chain knockouts of 110 damage, oftentimes you need the help of a couple charging ups every turn. So it's still a delicate balancing act for Adrian.
And that's sort of the balancing act he's going to have to try and figure out as he goes into this game 2 and tries to adapt to this complete, out of left field rogue deck. We did say towards the beginning of yesterday, we weren't really sure if there would be many rogue decks. We'd expect maybe some Rayquazas to make a comeback, as they kind of did, but no. Now we've seen there are some actually proper, completely out of nowhere rogue decks which are coming up and making their way not only to day 2, but actually to the top tables and getting featured on stream.
Yeah, and Jitmin demonstrating the power of this archetype. I mean, I played around with Greninja a little bit on PTCGO, but I never thought we'd see it on the main stage here in day 2, and impressing so well as well.
How did you have it built?
Well, I was playing Tapu Koko. I was trying it out, but I just found that there were too many of those hands where you just end up having not a lot, but Jitmin having the comeback potential in that last game to make no impact. But some terrible prize cards. Couple counter energies and a double colorless.
Yeah, there's about 4 fire energy prized on Adrian's side as well, but I mean, he's playing 15 with them, so that's not as bad still.
And it increases his burst GX odds as well. We saw
it does.
He wanted to do it turn 1 last game.
Yeah, but actually, now that I think about it, pricing that many energy is kind of amazing.
It's a good deal for him, really. Adrian kicks off with a Blacephalon GX once again. Jitmin starting with his 1 Jirachi, which is fantastic. And Adrian having a Cynthia here for turn 1.
Yep. It's interesting that in spite, going second, Jitmin actually opted to lead with the Jirachi instead of the Tapu Koko. Of course, Tapu Koko having that free retreat, but at the same time, if you do retreat, then you can't retreat again into an attacker. So maybe Jitmin thinking I'd rather just leave the Jirachi active so I can Stellar Wish, and then maybe if I hit some kind of retreating option, then I can still do something.
It will depend on his hand. If he's holding on to the likes of a double Colourless Energy, it's really tempting to just try and Stellar Wish into a switching card or into a supporter that gets you there, or vice versa. If he's already holding on to a switching card, you can dig for that double Colourless. So it's all dependent on what his opening hand really looks like. But you're right, there's a little cute interaction there with the Tapu Koko. Normally you love starting free retreaters, but in this situation, the 1 Jirachi is just such a phenomenal lead for him. As we see Adrian now, he's going to go ahead and find himself a 3rd Poipole onto the board, so he's really still going for his plan A, get as many charge-ups as possible, make sure that Blacephalon can push through, and really hope that Jitmin has to put down his Tapu Lele GX all over again to give him some easy prizes later.
Yeah, not only that, but I think that's something that's Jitmin's going to, or Adrian's going to consider, is that maybe he wants to go with a more just non-GX focus. Maybe he wants to just try, out and out attacking with all these Naganadals instead of, just trying to lead with Blacephalon.
As we mentioned straight away, he's already holding on to both the Escape Board and the double Colourless Energy.
Wow.
It's a great start from Jitmin. As long as he can find himself a supporter card, I think he's just holding on to some more energy cards right now, so a Cynthia might help him out. Also, Ultra Ball seems to be tempting.
Yeah.
Getting him some basics. Maybe he does have a supporter. He is holding on to Lily.
Yeah, okay. If you're opening with Escape Rope, then Escape Board rather, then of course they're going to lead Jirachi.
So now he can Ultra Ball. He's got himself a Lily for turn 1, so it's down to him to find some more Froakies onto this field. Everything looking pretty good for him this time around. He also gets to keep that Stellar Wish because he's going to be bringing up the Tapu Koko and flying flipping for 80 damage on this first turn. Which is really powerful for him. He may also just be trying to burn this Energy Lotto, already holding on to a double Colourless. He just wants to draw 1 additional card from Lily here. So we can have a look, but it's very doubtful he'll take one.
Yeah, and he does indeed find... Is that counter energy you saw? Yeah. But not going to take it again, just burning the card.
It makes sense. Just really all he's looking for at this point is backup Tapu Kokos, backup Froakies, and he's already holding on to energy, so just a supporter for the next turn, and he's pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw how strong, or rather how not strong Jitmin's start was in the last game, and how he was still able to, finish out with a really impressive result regardless. If he's able to actually get a stronger start now, then he has the potential to just run away with this game outright.
I see Ditto, Nestball, Tapu Koko, everything but a supporter card, but like we say, he can retreat out of his Jirachi and hope that Stellar Wish can get him back into good shape, because, I mean, this turn's going to be amazing. If he can get 3 Froakies down effectively, that's just insane.
But he drew 2 Nestballs, didn't he? So he's just... Yeah, regardless of having no supporter, I mean, his start is much stronger than it is in Game 1 because he actually has the things to evolve upwards. Yeah,
exactly. And upwards is definitely where the deck goes. As soon as you start evolving, those Frogadiers get so much value if you can place them in the right places. And, of course, the Greninja becomes a huge threat.
Yeah, and so offers the deck there to cut. Yeah, played both the Nest Balls. Still got another Tapu Koko there as well. And look at that. He's filled up his bench entirely.
He's got the option of Choice Man as well. I imagine he'll hold it until he can use the Greninjas themselves. Unless he's thinking, well, okay, here we go. Choice Man to the active. Let's just go for 50 and the 20 around the board. He's holding on to 3 energy cards.
Well, it's interesting consideration, isn't it? Because, of course, if you use the Choice Band with the Greninja, then you're actually getting more value of damage out of it because you're also getting to hit for weakness on the Blacephalon if it stays active. But at the same time, maybe he just thinks it's better to get the extra 30 damage now. And then, that way, with the Snipes and the Frogadiers, then I can actually, get the KO regardless just by hitting for 100.
That's fair enough. Just immediate benefit. And as well, of course, he has to be having Let Loose in the back of his mind once again. That's another factor that we do have to think about, of course. So we are going to see Adrian. Looks like he just attached to the active and once again just had to play Cynthia here.
Yeah.
Still on the lookout for more Naganadels and more charging ups here, because currently not getting the knockout. Beast Energy was so critical to him on that Game 1. Not there right now, so he's just hoping to find some more charging ups. Otherwise, it might just be a burst GX turn here.
He does find the Ultra Ball and the Fire Energy, so he will be able to get that Fire Engine discard power with the Ultra Ball, and he's going to discard the Speed of Ditto as well. And then I imagine the Naganadel will come out, and one charging up means that he will be able to get the KO, although he would need to Lost Zone all his energy to do it.
Yeah, that's going to be really awkward for him. Maybe he's going for that Let Loose once again next turn, just to try and find himself another Naganadel. I'm not really sure. Yep, we are going to see Let Loose here.
Yep.
His hand was pretty dead anyway, so it feels like it's only an upswing for him.
Yeah, of course, that makes a lot of sense. If he can find a second Naganadel, especially if he can find an energy switch for next turn, then it won't be so bad because he can do, get some more energy in discard, find a couple of charging ups, and then he can actually energy switch and attach and still be able to attack the Blacephalon this turn, even though this turn he's getting rid of all his energy.
Exactly. Let's see these last 4 cards. Another Naganadel. Is there only 1 fire energy currently in the discard pile? If not, he's going to be really happy with this evolution. Regardless, just protecting your low 70 hit point stuff is always great for you. We're going to see 1 charging up. Oh, yeah. 2 charging ups. Really nice.
There you go. So Doge doesn't even need the energy switch now. You can now Lost Zone the 2 energy he just attached, as well as 1 in the active, and then 1 manual attachment from hand will be enough to get the Blacephalon powered up and attacking again next turn.
So a prize for Adrian again, kicking the game off. He's also able to pick up one of those fire energy cards for next turn as well, which he's currently lacking. And let's see, this time Let Loose not quite as painful because Jitmin does have the fallback of Jirachi. So he gets 1 more Stellar Wish, and he finds himself a Cynthia at the very least.
Brilliant, yeah. This is actually couldn't have asked for much better, really. Just able to find himself another draw supporter, get another spin in the wheel, and make sure that he can then actually get some of the extra setup, extra evolutions and stuff such he needs. I imagine he'll attach a double colorless to the Tapu Koko first, just because he wants to make sure he's actually able to attack this turn. Does go for the Ultra Ball, of course he does have that, so now he can get himself his first Frogadier at least, start putting some snipes down with the ability as well, but yeah, pretty decent turn from Jitmin already. Yeah,
he's out of the Let Loose, and that's all you can really hope for. You can start getting evolutions on the field and work towards that flying flip as well. Everything's looking pretty rosy for Jitmin here. It was a much worse start that he won the last game, so when you're starting much better, obviously you're feeling good about your situation.
Yeah, very much so. And this is extra good as well because he actually also not attached the energy, interestingly enough.
I don't think there was. I think it was a rest.
Oh, he got Let Loose, didn't he? Yeah. So I think he had his previous hand. Yeah. So he's going to be digging for an energy off of this then.
Yeah, but now the 7 remaining outs are there for him.
Yep.
Actually, are there any in his prize cards this time? Was it this game?
Yeah. This is the energy where he has like free energy prize.
So not the highest odds here. He still finds that counter energy though.
That will do it
for him. A second Frogadier as well is available.
Yeah. With the Frogadier, I imagine he is going to evolve it up, but it doesn't make much sense to actually put it onto the active because if he goes for a flying flip here, which I imagine you will by attaching counter energy, then he can one of the attacks with the Greninja will be able to hit for weakness and hit 100 and actually take the knockout after he does this flying flip here. So he's going to end up putting this 20 on one of the bench Pokemon, I'm fairly sure. And yeah, he goes for the Naganadel.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. It doesn't help his math anywhere for the active. Instead, going for one of those already damaged Naganadel. And we are going to see, once again, flying flip from Jitmin. And he's going to be racking up even more damage this turn.
Working out really well for him, so that Blacephalon goes up to 90 damage on it. It does, of course, have 180 HP, so yeah, the 50 damage, doubling for weakness to 100, will knock it out now as long as Jitmin is able to find another counter energy and a Greninja next turn. And he's got to be feeling pretty decent about his position.
Adrian has an Erica's.
For the maximum 6 as well.
It's a huge draw. These are the times when you like to see Erica. When your hand size is low and your opponent's bench is large, that's when you get the immense value from Erica's Hospitality. Also found himself a Heat Factory Prism Star that can help him pitch one of these fires and dig even deeper into his deck.
Yeah, this is such a great double value you get from Heat Factory Prism Star in this deck. It all feels like it was made for this archetype. Of course, just get to discard a fire energy, draw 3 cards, and then you can just charge up that energy straight back onto the field.
Yeah, ultimate synergy there. It means that if he wants to burn all 3 energies this turn, he could. To take a knockout on this Tapu Koko, he may be forced to burst because it's always awkward removing every energy from yourself. It essentially says, Jitmin, if you don't take like some prize cards for me and keep me off B-strings, I may not be able to chain attacks, but at the same time, this Tapu Koko might be enough of a threat for him. He could take the 1 prize on the Tapu Koko this turn and then just go for burst next turn. That seems to be what he's going for. He's just saying, I'm going to force Jitmin to have yet another energy card for next turn.
Yeah, and this is absolutely, it's going to be the consideration, I'm sure. So up comes the Jirachi for Jitmin. He's got a Nest Ball in his hand, so he can grab himself another basic, but we'll just go for the Stellar Wish first. Just deciding he'd rather have that information of what he has to work with before going for that Nest Ball. He finds himself quite a bit of stuff, actually. He finds a Rescue Stretcher, or this would be a Pokemon Communication, and a Choice Band. The Communication can find him the Greninja. Does he have a Pokemon in his hand?
I'm pretty sure he does have Pokemon in there right now. I think he's already holding on to a Lily. Yeah, a Rangaru's going to go in. That's not quite as useful as this Greninja.
No, absolutely not. So he'll be very grateful to see that Communication. presume. And actually, he's just going to go for a third Frogadier, interestingly enough.
Well, he's got so few energy cards, he may be thinking, well, am I really going to be able to hit this off Greninja? And still thinning the Frogadier feels reasonable.
Yeah, because of course, as we mentioned before, he's prized 2 counter energy and 1 double colorless, and he's already been through 1 of his counter energies. So yeah, he only has 1 left in the deck. So maybe he's almost certainly thinking exactly as you said. It's not likely enough to happen to make it worth going for.
It's really awkward for Jitmin, especially when you're a spreading archetype, because sure, some decks they can prize things and then you eventually get towards them with your knockouts, but Jitmin's eventual is much more eventually. It's a lot later in the game where he's able to access those cards because he's trying to set up damage all across the board, so it's not quite the same as, say, Adrian's plan, for example, where he's able to find basically an extra card a turn or so every time he takes a knockout. It's not really the case with Jitmin, so he's going to have a big Lily and really hope that he can work towards that 1 or 2 remaining energy in his deck.
Yeah, he does have more double colorless left, of course, then he does the counter energies, so he can, as long as he finds one of those and can flying flip, I'm sure he'll be okay enough. And actually, if anything, that might work out better for him, because 1 flying flip here will knock out the Poipole, do 20 to the Marshadow, then that's on 40, and then all of a sudden the play opens up where he can take prizes to the point where he skips Adrian's B-String turn.
Exactly, that's what he's working towards. Unfortunately, Lily not getting him towards any of those energy cards.
Oh no.
Shrine of Punishment does come in at the very least, so a little bit more value there, and denying Adrian from an amazing Prism Star Stadium is never a bad thing, but it might be Jitmin trying to get some extra turns out of Adrian now, going into his Evasion Jutsu Greninja. We saw how useful it was last time at slowing down Adrian, and it might be the case again.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to do it, you got to do it, right? It's you got to rely on the hope that flip works out for you. Yeah, that evasion jutsu ability. You just got to hope that he flips heads and this attack inevitably happens.
Yeah, it feels like this is the perfect time for Adrian to go for a Burst GX, just because his Blacephalon can't really do much else right now without the help of energy switch cards. And, he can then work towards the turning point turn as well next time if he's able to just take this 1 Burst GX knockout. So then he has all the options available to him. He's once again grabbing that Marshadow for Let Loose. Has to be a little bit worried about putting down all these 70 hit point Pokemon. It can fall into Jitmin's hands at times.
Yeah, I mean,
personally, when you're holding on to 3 B-strings, you've got to be mad to let loose that away, haven't you?
Yeah, I was going to say, and Jitmin's hand isn't even that big.
I think more so he was just using this treasure to thin the muck from himself. Burst hitting one of those fire energies, that's always good as well.
Yeah, I mean, the odds were with him, as we mentioned before. He did have a lot of those fire energy prized, and yeah, Adrian realizing, like you said, I think he was just getting the Marsh out of the deck. Maybe, in a few turns time it might make more sense to use it, so just getting it out of the deck, let's have the option for it, and also meaning that he doesn't draw it, just makes a lot of sense. And like you rightly said as well, went for the Burst GX that turn, no reason not to, and was able to get a fire energy off of there and attach to the bench Naga Needle.
Jit is able to lower his hand size here, rescue Stretch Ring back in 3 targets, and then playing an Ultra Ball. That's going to help him find out another Greninja that he's just put back into the deck. Yeah. Exactly what he's going for here, and he can Lily once again, still digging for those few outs in his deck, those couple of double units of energy that he can find all at once here. Yeah,
it's interesting as well. He rescue stretched in 2 Greninjas and the Tapu Lele from Ultra Prism. Of course, one of these 2 Tapu Leles that is able to have the magical swap attack to just move all the damage counters around the board.
It's so rough. He's missed again.
Wow.
He can communication for yet another Greninja and just get this Frogadier in a bit of a safer spot. But yeah, he's not found any of these energies. These prizes are really hurting Jit here. It feels like the game could have been over otherwise. With 3 Greninjas in play, everything looks bleak for Adrian, but as long as there's whiffs of energy, all he's receiving is 10 damage a turn, and that's really fine.
Although it must be said that the Shrine of Punishment damage is adding up onto this active Blacephalon. It won't be long before actually Jitmin can take a KO with the Furious Shurikens, even if the Blacephalon hits the bench, so that's something to consider as well.
So it is Adrian's turning point turn. That's got to be something on his mind. He's gripping onto Guzma. There's no fire energy in his discard pile yet again, though. Just all in his hand with no discarding options. We saw him discard, I believe it was a Muck last turn.
Yeah. Crucial that Jitmin was able to counter that Heat Factory Prism Star, of course, with the Shrine of Punishment, because, no Ultra Ball means that with that Heat Factory gone, there are, like you said, no discard options for him, so he can do one manual attachment, but that's really all he can do.
He's going to It looks like he's just going to bring up the Jirachi. He can pay retreat out of this and charge back up to another Naganadel or back to itself and take the one prize with the Blacephalon. You'd rather have the Turning Point turn while you have the chance, but taking out Jirachi still is immense value. And he can essentially put himself back in the same spot, but one prize fewer remaining for him. So he's still getting through the game and still getting himself down to a couple of prize cards, which is always good for him. But his hand just doesn't take him anywhere beyond this.
No, it doesn't. It's a real shame for him. So there he goes. Yeah, goes for the Mind Blown, takes a knockout on the Jirachi again, hitting for the weakness. And one card drawn for Jits. Actually, Adrian needs to put one damage onto that Blacephalon.
Definitely. The Shrine of Punishments is still in play here. We'll see if Jit is finally able to find himself an energy or not. But yeah, Shrine of Punishment still ticking over. Looks like Cynthia's the thing that Jit is clinging on to. Oh, there is a double Colourless Energy for him. That's a big top deck for him.
Yep, so now he's able to find himself a Ditto Prism Star. And
wow, look at that. Not content with the double Colourless Energy. He's going to Cynthia instead. That's incredible. Here comes the Shrine of Punishment damage. There it is.
So, yeah, the Shrine of Punishment damage has been fixed. And, yeah, Jit deciding, no, you know what? I just want to go for this this counter energy here. Flying Flip is not good enough. If he doesn't see anything here, though, he's going to feel quite sad.
Back into double colourless, but it's not quite the best. Oh, he did find Choice Band, though. That lets him into the game.
That does. That means he can actually just get the KO.
Well, it's a sigh of relief. It was a risk worth taking in the end with that Cynthia. I mean, he would have way preferred it to be a Greninja, obviously. Yeah. Because having Evasion Jutsu on your side makes you a lot safer here.
Yeah, especially considering that obviously now Adrian's B-string turn is open to him. Jitmin was not able to avoid it. He had the plan all set out, but just wasn't able to execute it.
Exactly. 3 prize cards being taken for Jit, though. Finally able to access some of those energies, I would imagine. But as you said, Adrian's maybe a couple Guzmas away. I mean, if you just knock out the active with some B-string Blacephalon action, and you just need one Guzma for that, either the Ditto or the Tapu Koko, when you're going to be over the line here. So it feels like it's still the ball's in his court now.
Very much so. Yeah, B-string number 1. We know there's 2 more coming.
There's going to be, once again, this whole flood of energies hitting the field all at once here. There is a Blacephalon currently in Adrian's hand. There's also the Beast Energy to factor in as well, which might be one of the ways he can take a Naganadel knockout on one of these Tapu Kokos. He may be hesitant to put down a Blacephalon. So far he has been. Looks like he's just, he's just saying B-string's good, man. Yeah. Let me get these on the Naganadels instead.
I mean, like you said before, I mean, the double benefit of B-string is that not only are you attaching a whole ton of energy and, sort of ramping up the tempo on your board, but you're thinning out your deck. So if there's a card you want to dig for, in this case, for Adrian being the Beast Energy, you're more likely to hit it now.
Doesn't look like he has an attacker set up, though. Maybe the final B-string is going to go onto this Blacephalon. I can't see him taking a prize this turn, currently.
Oh, no, he needs to find a B-string. That's the whole point. So he's going to probably just try and dig for it.
He's doing some quick maths here to see where these Greninjas are going to be planting their 50 damages. Things are looking pretty awkward for him. He's going to treasure away an Alolan Grimer here.
Maybe just discard sort of as much as possible before he goes for this. Maybe he's just going to go for Let Loose and just hope he hits the Beast Energy.
I mean, it's a big risk at this point, but if that's what he's going for, maybe he's thinking, I don't have time to go for this Blacephalon GX. Feels like a big risk from me, though.
Yeah, it does. And also, I mean, the other problem is if you go for the Blacephalon, then... well, rather, the other problem is if you go for the Blacephalon, then that potentially opens up, Jitmin hitting weakness and sort of taking a KO that way. It's probably still the safer play, but...
It's one of those things when you've seen 2 Choice Band already, your opponent's playing a Stage 2 deck, you think, wow, how much space does he have in that deck? Can he have any more Choice Bands? Am I really worried about 100 damage instead of, 160 is obviously the fear.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get hit by 160. That could just spell I lose the game.
Yeah.
If you're going for a Let Loose anyway, and he's already played 2 Choice Bands, that feels like a better risk than trying to just get into a Beast Energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's... and he's going for the Erika's Hospitality now. Does get to draw 6. Did he see the Beast Energy?
There it is.
Oh, the last card.
Last card, Beast Energy. It means he doesn't have to take that risk to go for the Blacephalon.
Wow, that was exactly what he was hoping for, I'm sure, and he's got to be very, very happy about that.
It's a huge pickup from Adrian. It means now the Turning Point will take a knockout on the Tapu Koko. Yeah. I believe he's also got a Guzma lined up for next turn as well, so everything's looking rosy at this point. He may even try and burn this last B-string just to get rid of it from his hand. At that point, all he wants to do is, remove cards from his deck because game is in hand currently.
Yeah, it's the one I mean, obviously Jitmin next turn, he has a counter energy ready. He's going to be able to, attack with the Greninja and sort of take a KO on to the bench Naganadel, but he can't KO the active because he's 20 short and he doesn't have access to another Frogadier.
Adrian now, he's got the counter stadium lined up with the Ultra Space. He's now considering this Blacephalon late in the day, which is a pretty interesting one from him.
Yeah.
It's one of those considerations you would have thought he's already decided not to put it down, but instead now he's thinking about it once again.
Yes, it's an interesting one. I mean, all he really needs to safeguard himself at this point is Guzma, right? And is he just going to go for the let loose? No?
Ooh.
Yes? Maybe?
Pulls it back. I mean, at least you play the stadium first.
Yeah.
For sure. That's definitely happening. He's in the Ultra Space and have a look as well. Is there any other cards I can thin out?
Looks to be, just the Naganadel GX, of course. It's one tech card that we do see, Blacephalon players playing sometimes. Just has its own uses in quite a few matchups. Of course, that has that cool Beast Raid attack, which does 20 damage for each of your Ultra Beasts as a solid Psychic type attacker. He's going to need it here, of course. And
Adrian discarding a Lily. I know Guzma's part of his game plan, but he could have just discarded one Blacephalon and found another one from his deck. Instead, he chooses no target. That's some strange sequencing there as well. Maybe he is thinking about this let loose. Maybe he's thinking it's, Jitmin's missed so many energies, he's got to have had them prized.
Yeah, is he? Oh.
Wow.
He's going for it.
These are big plays from Adrian, really big plays. Getting yourself out of game effectively is definitely, more risks involved in that. But I guess he's just concerned about the damage output Jitmin can come out with next turn.
Yeah, and I mean, and obviously if Adrian's able to find a Guzma here, he's going to look like a hero, so I'm sure that's what he's digging for, but no, does not find it.
Oh, it's just one of those risks, man.
Yes.
Got himself into this bad spot where game was in sight next turn, and now it's not.
No.
Now we're just hoping to find Guzma off top decks.
And he goes for the charging up at the very least. And with the Beast Energy, of course, he will be able to take the knockout onto the Tapu Koko.
One prize card remaining for Adrian. It's over to Jitmin. Let's see what he's found here.
He's found a double colors. He has the counter energy ready as well, so he will be able to attack with Greninja. He needs to do that, otherwise he definitely loses next turn. So there goes the attachment there. Of course, unlike Adrian, Jit does not have any hand disruption of his own. He's not playing any Marsh Shadows or anything like that. So that's something that Adrian can rest easy with a little bit, I guess. But it might honestly just come down to a coin flip at this point.
Yeah, Jit gonna bench Oranguru. He's saying, well, Ditto's easier to knock out anyway, so I may as well play this down before playing out my own Cynthia here.
Yep.
No hand disruption in sight, so Jit trying to figure out where his last 3 prizes come from with this Greninja, hoping for once again Jutsu to get him in good stead here.
Yeah, this might be one of the biggest flips of the tournament so far when it inevitably happens, assuming Adrian doesn't just draw Guzma off the top of the deck right now, obviously.
A replacement stadium once again, Shrine of Punishments coming back in, more so to limit Adrian's draw.
Mm-hmm. And so now, Jit having one last look through, I can feel my breathing accelerating a little bit. I don't know about you, Joe, but this is very, very edge of the seat kind of stuff.
We're going to see a couple of 50 damage snipes here.
Yeah, so that will be... you knock out the Naganadel on the bench, obviously, and I mean, if you want to, you can knock out the Marsh Shadow as well. But I guess there's not much reason to, because obviously you want to threaten.
Yep, you're threatening game this way, and you're knocking out one of the Naganadels.
Here we go.
In one turn away, one draw for Guzma.
It's an energy switch.
Not Guzma. He let loose himself out of game.
Yep.
And now it's the potential for a coin flip. Yep. I don't think he can be...
Oh wait, no, he can't take a KO anyway. I just realised, of course, he's capped at 110 damage.
The Shrine of Punishments coming in stops Adrian from having a double energy switch hope with Blacephalon.
Yeah.
Now it's attached to a Marshadow Lily. Hope to energy switch, try and find a Blacephalon.
Yeah. Double
energy switch, and then have the coin flip after the fact. So is there a Blacephalon? Oh my goodness, we're getting coin flips, boys and girls.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness. It's all on evasion jutsu. One prize card to take for Adrian. He's got double energy switch. He can retreat Naganadel, charging up. And then he has to announce the mind-blown attack. It's flip heads or bust here.
Wow. He shuffled himself potentially out of the win. He got it back. And now the double energy switch is going to come in. Well, the retreat first. Oh my Cephalon. 2 energy switch.
This jutsu. Oh my goodness. This has got to be such a stressful moment for both players at this point. We've got to see the charging up again.
Biggest coin flip of the tournament, and Chipmin picking it out to make sure, does it do enough damage? Yes, it does.
There's the charging up.
Oh, I mean, maybe by wondering if he has to loss zone the energy first. I mean, it doesn't matter because if you...
He does have to loss zone the energy. He has
Okay.
to announce the attack. He is all in. Are we going to see heads or tails from Jitmin? Evasion Jutsu.
It's heads!
Incredible from Jitmin. Greninja takes no damage and he just announces the final attack and is able to take the final 2 prizes, doing 2 50 damage spreads. Incredible game there.
Oh, the crowd absolutely loves that. Wow.
I mean, coming down to coin flips is just incredible. So sorry for Adrian though. I mean, let loosing yourself out